Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and this is Have Roots, Will Travel. I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler, and over the last several years, I've been traveling through time and really exploring each and every one of these amazing women, les filles mariées and les filles du roi, the marriageable girls and the king's daughters, trying to get to know these amazing women who are truly the bedrock of Quebec history. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. The next are ways to help the channel grow. Coffee and Patreon are external platforms that help the channel grow that you can donate to. I also have a PayPal button on my Have Roots Will Travel website that helps as well. So thank you to all of you who have supported me thus far. Truly appreciate you so much. And with that being said, let's get started and get to know our filles mariées of this episode. Let's talk a little bit about les filles mariées, the marriageable girls. This was a group of ladies who came to New France between 1634 and 1662. They are truly the bravest of the brave because they came when New France was really nothing more than an outpost, if you will. By the end of it, it was not as bad as it was in the 1630s and 40s, but certainly they were very unusual women because they came one at a time, a couple at a time. It was not a program like the Filles du Roi that came later, but it was a way to try to populate the country. And we can see that there were about 262 mariés over a 28-year period. Obviously, this works out to about 10 a year. That's not enough to make a country because not everybody had, 15 children. So they were truly amazing women, and it's so today's fille mariée is Marthe Arnu. She's episode 76, and she is from a viewer request. I don't have her in my file, so let's get to know Marthe a little bit better. So Marthe was born in 1632 in La Rochelle, in the parish of Sainte Marguerite. Her parents were Marc Arnu and Louise Brodard. La Rochelle was founded during the 10th century and became an important harbor in the 12th. Until the 15th century, La Rochelle was to be the largest French harbor on the Atlantic coast, dealing mainly in wine, salt, and cheese. The name La Rochelle actually means in Latin little rock. La Rochelle has one of the richest histories of all the towns of France. From its beginnings as an area where the Knights of Templar had their strongest base, to Eleanor marrying Henry Plantagenet in 1152, and who eventually would become King of England as Henry II in 1154, thus putting La Rochelle under Plantagenet rule, which is the beginnings of the Protestant revolts, until Louis VIII captured it in the siege of La Rochelle in 1224. So basically, you can see how for over 100 years it was ruled by the English, and this created the Protestant component, if you will. And then from after it was under French rule, there still remains that Protestant nucleus, if you will. And from 1568, La Rochelle became a center for Huguenots. I don't know if Marthe was or not, but this is the area that she would have been, even if she wasn't a Protestant, she would have been exposed to the probably the anger and the revolts that occurred during her lifespan before she came to New France. Was now by now twice widowed, and her half sister Marguerite Savio, who also became a fille mariée and who we've not yet profiled. The groom that she selected and who selected her, his name, Pierre Richon de Petrus, and he was born in 1634 in Hier-Brouage, and his parents were Simon Richon and Catherine Bellier. Now, this small little commune is actually kind of famous, if you will. He's from the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region and from the Charente-Maritime département. So he and his future bride were actually from the same general area, if you will. This town was founded on very swampy land which had previously been underwater. Its name, Brouage, comes from the surrounding mixture of water and clay, which was called Brou. Its economy was based on salt and access to the sea. Brouage was known for producing salt that was black in color, which was often sold to the royal family. Brouage exported large quantities of salt by land and sea as early as the 15th century. The town was fortified between 1630 and 1640 by Cardinal Richelieu himself. It became a Catholic in order to fight against the neighboring Protestant town of La Rochelle. Gradually, the harbor silted up in the last part of the 17th century, leaving the town stranded and useless as a port. It fell into ruin. The town's most celebrated son is the French navigator Samuel de Champlain, as we know all too well how important he was to New France. Now, the church that he would have been baptized in is the Church of Saint Pierre and Saint Paul and was founded in 1600. Now, Pierre has a very interesting story about coming to New France. He came as a 10-year-old with his father, and they settled in Montreal. So Marthe and Pierre were married in Montreal September 16, 1658, in a sextuplet ceremony with 6 other brides. They were among the 6 that were married at the same time. So they did settle in Montreal, the wonderful city that would eventually become this incredible international place. Started off as Ville-Marie by the founder, Paul de Chaumette, Sœur de Maisonneuve, and was essentially just a missionary center. It was founded in May of 1642. This colony would not thrive, and it was on the verge of just extinction when Chamonix, in a last Hail Mary kind of pass, decided to return to France to recruit 100 settlers, which would become known as Le Grand Recrut. From this small group would evolve not only the Notre Dame congregation from Sister Marguerite Bourgeois, who came along, but also all the founding families truly of Montreal. Now, in the 1666 census, we have Pierre Richomme, his wife Marthe, Barbe Richomme, Jacques, Marie Magal, Marie Marthe, and Pierre Perousseau, who is a domestic. So obviously he had some means. They would go on to have 9 children. Gabrielle would pass away in infancy. Barbe would marry Pierre Meunier and have 9 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Jacques would marry Marguerite Gratiot and have 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marie-Madeleine married Jean Brunet and had 11 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marie-Marthe would marry Gilles Monet and had 5 children, 4 of whom made it to adulthood. She then married Louis Etienne and had 4 more children, all of whom made it to adulthood. She also had 2 natural children with 2 different partners. Elizabeth married first Robert Desmarais and had 2 children, both of whom made it to adulthood. She then married Pierre Moreau and had 1 child who also made it to adulthood. She would also, like her sister, have 2 natural children, natural being out of wedlock. Jeanne would marry Pierre Janot and have 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marie would pass away in infancy. Madeleine would marry Pierre Bébé and have 5 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. She also had a natural child. I gotta imagine, like, what's going on with that family. I love that, though. I mean, as a want to be feminists, I think it's amazing that they defy convention, if you will. In the 1667 census, Pierre is listed with Marthe. They have one garçon. It's very odd, this census, because it doesn't name the children. One boy and four girls. I have yet to see this. This is the first time I've seen this kind of a census. And they have 6 beasts, 6 cattle, and get this, 35 arpents à valeur. That is about 30 acres of land. Now remember, his father, he came with his father. By then he had been in Montreal for well over 20 years. And so obviously this is either inherited, made money with his father, had some sort of value that he was able to afford this amount, because this is a lot of land at that time. By 1681, we find the family at Repentigny, very brand new kind of seigneurie. It was founded actually in 1670 by Jean-Baptiste Legardeur, son of the seigneur Pierre Legardeur. During the town's first 250 years, Repentigny was only inhabited by, very small amount of people. In 1677, there were only 30 inhabitants. It was only in 2002, 200 years later, when Repentigny merged with the city of Legardeur on June the 1st, 2002. The area's size doubled and the population grew by 70%. Now, Pierre and Marthe were among the very, very, very first settlers, and I've posted the link. They are listed as the first owners of land. So I posted the link for you to see that. So this is kind of a really interesting. Now, you can see that in the 1681 census, Pierre, Marthe, we have their children, Jacques, Elisabeth, Jeanne, Madeleine. They have 1 gun, 6 bêtes à cornes, and 9 arpents à valeur. Remember, he had 35 in 1667. It is extraordinarily possible that he sold that land, kept the cash, and then just said, you know what, let's downsize because we're getting older. And he ended up with a plot of land, if you will, a very large land. And as you do research in the Repentigny, you'll see that first original area, some people got 3 acres, some people, and so on and so forth. So the fact that he had 9 arpents is actually an indication that he probably was one of the wealthiest ones to come to Repentigny. Pierre would pass away sometime between 1688 and 1689. We do not have any death record. He was about 55 years of age. He and Marthe would have been married about 30 years, a remarkable achievement. Marthe would carry on until 1700, when she would die at age 68 in hospital. As she was buried the same day, it is extremely likely that she passed away from some sort of epidemic, possibly the influenza, that was attacking Montreal during that year. But she left us with an extraordinary gift. As of 1729, she would leave us with 371 descendants. Just amazing. What can we say about Marthe and Pierre? They truly were among the founding families of Montreal and later of Repentigny. And to leave us with a gift of 371 descendants as of 1729, I can't wait to find out how many of you are related to this amazing lady. So thank you to Marthe for coming to our shores, for your extraordinary contribution, and for making certain that your line and your life meant something. We really, really are appreciative of your gifts. And with that, I want to say thank you to my patrons and supporters, because without you, I don't know if I would still have the energy and the passion, but all of you fuel me with your notes and your comments. I really appreciate each and every one of you, so thank you. And with that being said, I will say au revoir until I see you on the next episode of Les Filles Mariées.